Langley, can you talk about why we care about what's happening in Africa right now? I mean, what if you tell the American taxpayer, why are we there? Why are we spending the money we're spending there?
Thanks for that question, Senator. For access and influence.
Welcome to Tunacheki's Africa React. I'm your host, Mikey Mushi, and this is the show where we go online and react to viral videos that concern the African continent. Before we start, please make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's the best way to show YouTube this is a great video, and it will recommend it to more like-minded people like you.
Today's global events, ranging from Russian Federation's war in the Ukraine to the Houthi attacks in the Red Sea, directly impact the lives of millions of Africans. Terrorism, poverty, food insecurity, climate change, and mass migration shatter African lives. These factors sow the seeds of violent extremism and Russian exploitation across entire regions of the continent. Africom's campaign revolves around central themes of ensuring strategic access, countering threats to the homeland and U.S. interests, preparing for and responding to crisis, and lastly, bolstering our allies and partners. This campaign places our African partners at the center, achieving positive change by executing African-led and U.S.-enabled operations focused on our shared objectives. In today's dynamic environment, our whole of government partners require appropriate resourcing. I strongly advocate for our State Department and USAID partners to receive the resources they need to guarantee our combined success. I would also like to highlight a campaign that benefits from our Congress, which supports the African Center of Strategic Studies, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary. In Africa, modest investments and resources go a long way towards achieving our national security interests. Africa faces many challenges, but also offers even more opportunities. With our African partners at the forefront, reinforced by our efforts and the efforts of our allies, we will continue to gain ground towards achieving lasting stability, security, and prosperity on this crucial continent. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today, and I look forward to answering your questions.
Langley, can you talk about why we care about what's happening in Africa right now? I mean, what if you tell the American taxpayer, why are we there? Why are we spending the money we're spending there?
Thanks for that question, Senator. For access and influence. I'd say that a number of countries are at the tipping point of actually being captured by the Russian Federation, as they are spreading some of their false narratives across Libya. And from a strategic answer piece, access influence across the whole Maghreb, that is NATO's southern flank. We need to be able to maintain access and influence across the Maghreb from Morocco all the way to Libya. The PRC and Russia are also remaining exploitative where possible and coercive when necessary. They want that ground. They want power projection capabilities. So for the most part, the rest of the continent is also for mining concessions, whether it be gold or rare earth minerals. Both of them have a long-range plan. But I think at the accelerated pace, the Russian Federation is really trying to take over Central Africa as well as the Sahel.
The question arises, what are we doing in terms of information campaign to try to inform governments and the people of the dangers that these groups, not just Wagner groups, but other entities are posing?
Chairman, thanks for that question, because I would say the Russian Federation's narrative drowned out the U.S. governments in the past years. They were accelerant. The Russian Federation, not just through Wagner, stoked a lot of the instability across the Sahel. They did this through misinformation, disinformation campaigns. So I see how we could double down in our efforts is through our own information campaign, but matched with our assurance efforts across the whole of government, just not building military and security capacity, but all the story needs to be told about the successes of USAID and State Department collectively in all of our operations, activities, and investments.
And that requires additional resources, I presume.
Yes, Chairman, it certainly does, especially in information operations.
With respect to where we don't have ambassadors, I really appreciated both of you talking about a whole of government approach that you're doing in your areas of responsibility, because as you point out, there isn't a military solution in these countries. And I wanted to show this map. You can see by the pins where we do not have ambassadors in Africa and also in Turkmenistan. So we have 8 open missions in Africa. The African Union in Zimbabwe, Nigeria, the biggest, most populous country in Africa, Cabo Verde, Djibouti, where, as Senator Wicker pointed out, the Chinese have a base, Liberia, Somalia, Burundi, and Burkina Faso also do not have an ambassador in Turkmenistan, in CENTCOM. So how important is it for us to have ambassadors in the countries where you're operating to help us move the missions that we have in these countries? I'd ask both of you to respond to that.
Senator, it's very essential that we have, especially with our whole of government approach. Our African partners understand that we're here to help them reach their overall national goals of stability and security. But when we bring our assurance actions and our African campaign plan and say 3D, they said, okay, then why aren't we important enough to have an ambassador? And so it does draw a strategic communication that can be exploited and leveraged by the Russian Federation and the People's Republic of China. It is certainly essential.
Thank you. And I would point out that the PRC has ambassadors in all of those countries.
The West wants the world to remain the way it is. Africans suffering, the West living up high, right? Just as the regional president recently said, the only thing America manufactures is printing of dollars, right? They actually don't bring value to the world that currently helps our situation in countries that are less fortunate. So America, the West, they want to keep the status quo because, yeah, life is good for them, right? But for people of Niger, for people of Burkina Faso, for people of Mali, for people of Guinea, right? For people of South Africa, life is not as good as the shows on TV or on social media, right? Like things are really hard. So this has been me, Mike Mushi from Tunacheki, and as always remember, Africa is watching.